Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my humble home in Livingston, Montana. Okay, today is March 4th of 2021. And I've got it seems to me like lately I've been digging up a lot of negative subjects that I really don't want to talk about. But the problem of it is, if some of this stuff isn't brought to the average American, I shouldn't say average, just anybody American, their attention, I'm just afraid that the United States government and whatever I'm griping about, is just going to run right over the top of people. Now, my wife was telling me this morning, I couldn't believe this. I just could not believe this, because my wife doesn't lie. She doesn't make up stuff. We've been married for 45 years, going on 46 years, and all of this other kind of stuff. But she was telling me that on one of the news feeds, on her iPhone, iPad, or whatever have you, that the government, in this case meaning Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, had made some big, loud, stupid, asinine statement about taking veterans' benefits away from them, and I'm assuming that means adjudications for war injuries and all this other kind of stuff, because she was calling it veterans' welfare. I'd like to take these sons of bitches, all of these politicians that like to make wars and send young men and young Americans off to war and put their cowardly asses right on the front line. Right, so they're dodging bullets and shrapnel and RPGs and landmines and all this other stuff, you sons of bitches. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if this is true or not, what my wife was telling me, but my wife is not one of these kind of gals that gets all wound up about stuff unless she's got some kind of a reason. But she had just mentioned to me that on the news, she thought it was NBC News. Personally, myself, like I've said on this channel, I don't watch the news. I, for real, I quit watching the news just about the time that Biden got, the inauguration ceremony for old Biden and Harris, to take over the, the reins of the United States, so to speak. But I'm sitting here to tell you assholes in so many words, and you better pay attention here. You start chopping into veterans' benefits and taking money away from injured veterans and stuff like this, you have got the biggest problem on your hands that you've ever seen. And am I threatening? No. I'm just stating a fact. You're going to have a small form of anarchy. This isn't going to work. You're going to have to dream up some other way to spend the American taxpayers' money rather than robbing it from the veterans. And not only that, what is the government planning on doing in the future? Shutting down the Veterans Administration? The Veterans Administration, employs a lot of people and whatnot have you. And then there's another situation. If you put 20 years in the United States military, I don't care what it is. That's the way it used to be. I'm not sure about now. But I'm talking about all the armed forces of the United States of America. The Coast Guard, the Marines, including the SEALs, of course. The United States Army, which I'm a veteran. I'm a Army veteran. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm also adjudicated. But anyway, the Navy, the Air Force, the whole... If you put 20 years in, it used to be that they would give you half of your base pay, whatever rank you were, E6, E7, or whatever, for the rest of your life. What did they plan on doing with that money? Cutting it off? The Veterans Administration, is near, the last figures that were thrown around me was the budget for the for the VA is somewhere around 260, 280, pushing right at $300 billion a year. I mean, that's the cost of war. War is nothing but a money-making scheme when you get right down to it. But I just know one doggone thing. You criminals, you cowards, you bastards that make wars, if you think that you're going to take money away from us veterans, you better think again, because you're asking for a shitload of trouble. You can bank on this. I'm getting sick and tired of you cowards sending young men off to war for your foolish, idiotic, immoral wars. Because that's about what the hell this boils down to. And then when the damage is done, you don't want nothing to do with this. I'm almost 70 years old, and I've been discriminated against as a Vietnam veteran for as far back as I can remember. For as far back as the minute I got out of the United States Army and got discharged. And I've been feeling this kind of pain and hurt for all these years. That's what gets me. That's what really gets me. You got a few here in the United States that are brave enough to go out and do the will of these politicians. But I'm sitting here to tell you that there is a day coming. What happens when they give a war and nobody comes? That's what I'm waiting for. I really am. But the government has got a real unique way of coming up with every excuse under the sun to con young men and women into going into the service. And once they've been in there for a while and see how screwed up it is, or see that the reasons for why they're in war and why they're forced to kill people or watch people die, they suddenly realize that this stuff is just a whole lot of nonsense. I know that's what happened to me in Vietnam. I could sit here for an hour telling what few people I got that watch my channel about how ridiculous the Vietnam War was and the reasons that the government gave at the time. They just don't hold water. So it's my understanding that the government somehow or the other has got some goofy plan, I don't know if this is for sure or not, but to take veterans' benefits away from us and use that money for something else. The thing that I don't like about this whole miserable mess is these politicians, I don't want them doing my thinking for me. People like that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they think that they're smarter and better than me. They can kiss my royal ass. That's what I've got to say. I don't need cowards and clowns like you doing my thinking for me. Do you get this straight? You bastards, if there's a place in hell, you're going there. And the simple fact of the matter is, I am not inciting no riots here. I'm just stating what I know is going to be a very bad mistake if the present administration starts cutting into the VA and taking benefits away and money that's been earned by injury, sweat, blood, traumatic head injuries, PTSD, and the whole shitty 9 yards. You're going to regret this. That's what I've got to say. So, that's really all I've got to say. I don't know if any of this stuff is true. It's probably just, I've noticed over the last 10, 20 years, the news media and the government are real good at putting stuff out there to scare the hell out of people. They don't want people to be happy and healthy, the pursuit of happiness, and all the stuff that's guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States. We got people in the government that want us to be dependent on the government. I don't want to be dependent on people that are more morally corrupt than I ever thought of being. You fuckers you people can just kiss my ass. I gotta get gone before I get madder than I am. Whatever you do, don't touch our veterans' benefits. Don't do it. That's what I've got to say. Adios, my friends, and we shall see you on down the trail. I'm not very happy today. Goodbye.